Okay, so in this video, what I've done is I've taken the worksheet that I gave you today and I've made some new problems. So they're not exactly the ones that you have on the worksheet, but they're like the ones on the worksheet, and I'll work them out, and hopefully that will help you there. Okay. All right. So let's do the first one here. So the question is saying identify the slope and y-intercept. Okay, so your slope is in your y equals mx plus b equation is your m, and then your y-intercept is your b. So the first one's already set up in y-intercept form, so it does most of the work for me. So it's just a matter of looking at where my m is, which is 5, and then my y-intercept, -6. Okay, so my slope here is 5, and my y-intercept, -6. So if I were to graph this, I could just say my y-intercept, that's at -6, so that's my first point, and then my slope is 5 over 1, so it would just go up 5, and then over 1, and then that would be my next point. Okay, and I can just draw my line there. Okay, so it looks something like that. So my slope, that's a pretty steep slope because it's 5 over 1, and then my intercept would be -6 on this graph. All right, so let's take a look at the next one. So this one is not so obvious. This is not in my traditional y equals mx plus b form, so I need to get it that way. So the only thing that I want on my left side is my y. So I need to get rid of everything else here and put it on this side of the equation. Is subtract my 3x and move it over to my other side. Okay, and then that would give me a new equation of 4y equals, and I'll go ahead and move my 3x on this side, -12 minus 12. Okay, so I'm almost done. I've almost got my y. Okay, I've almost got the y by itself. So I'm going to remove my 4 by using division because it's attached to my y by multiplication, so I do the opposite, and I divide the other side by 4 as well. So that gives me now, on this side of the equation, that gives me y by itself. And then over here, that's -3 over 4, slope, that's my slope, x. And then -12 divided by 4 is -3. All right, so there we go, that's all I need. So my slope is -3, so down 3, and then over 4, and then my y-intercept is -3. So if I'm going to graph that, it's going to look something like this. My y-intercept at -3. Okay, so I can go ahead and plot my first point there. And then my next point would be, it would go down 3. So that would be -6, because -1, 2, 3, that would be -6, and then over 4. So it would be somewhere over here. Okay. And that would be my slope. It goes down 3 and then over 4. Okay? All right, so let's look at the next one now. Okay, again, one that is not so obvious. I need to get my y by itself. So I would add 2x, add 2x to my other side. And then that leaves me on this side of the equation with a -7y, and then 2x minus 21. So again, I'm getting closer. So I will, since my -7 is attached by multiplication to my y, I will divide it. So I divide the other side by -7 as well. Okay, and then that leaves me now with y equals -2 over 7x, and -21 divided by -7 is +3, and there it is. There's all the things that I need. My slope, -2 over 7, and then my intercept. Okay, so my y-intercept is 3, It's my first point. And then I go down to over 7 is my line. Okay, that's my slope. It's a negative slope, and it's not a very steep slope because if you look at this number here, that's 2 over 7. 2 over 7 is less than 1, and it's also a negative number. So not only does it go down, but it's also kind of a flat slope. Okay? All right, so let's take a look at the next set of problems. Let me just go ahead and erase all this. Okay, so in this particular problem, again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my own problems that are similar to this so you can work on them. So I'll just pause the video right now. Okay, so here are my new problems that are similar to the ones on your worksheet. So f of x is 4 plus x. So in this case here, the problem wants me to give the value of x negative 3. So what that would do is then I would replace my x with negative 3. And now the question is, what is the value of f of x when when x is negative 3? So then I just do my simple math here. 4 plus negative 3 is 1. So then the value of f of x is 1. Here, let me do it in a different color so it'll pop out more. The value of f of x is 1 when x equals 3. Okay? So now, look at this second block here. Now, what if the value of this, what if this entire value is equal to 12? So now f of x equals 12. What must x be for this to be true? What must the value of x have, what does the value have to be in order for this whole thing right here to equal 12? Okay, so I would first subtract my 4 to both sides. Okay, and then that gives me the new equation of, I've eliminated my 4, so now x is on this side. 12 minus 4 is 8. So in order for this function to equal 12, okay, in order for this function to equal 12, x must be 8 for this to be true. Okay? All right, so let's look at the next problem now. Okay, so the next problem, f of x, this time my x must have a value of 2. So if my x has a value of 2, what will f of x total? So I replace my x with 2, and then do my math. 4 plus 2 is 6. So f of x, the function of f of x, this particular function, if my x equals 2, then the whole function will equal 6. All right, so let's move over here to this side now and work these out. So again, this particular problem here is giving the value of 4 to my x. So what will be my function? What will be the value of my function if x equals 4? So that's negative 8 over 7 times 4. Since this is a fraction, I'm just going to go ahead and make this a fraction as well. So negative 8 times 4 is negative 32, and then 7 times 1 is 7. Okay, so then the value of this function, if x equals 4, is negative 32 over 7. Okay? Okay. Now, what if the value of my entire function is 16? What must x equal? What must x equal for this to be 16? Okay? Well, I want to get rid of my negative 8 over 7. So the easiest way to get rid of a fraction is to multiply it by its reciprocal. So for example, negative 8 over 7, the easiest way to make this into a 1 is to multiply this by the reciprocal of negative 7 over 8. Because negative 8 times negative 7 is positive 56. And then 7 times 8 is 56. Oops, should be a positive. Well, that should be equal. So 56 over 56 equals 1, and 1 times x is just x. So then I would multiply again by the reciprocal, and then these two numbers multiplying together will give me 1. So then that leaves this side of the equation as equaling x. Okay? So now if I multiply this side of the equation by a negative 7/8, that means I have to multiply this side of the equation by a negative 7/8 as well. Okay, so let's do that off to this side over here. So negative 7/8 times 16 over 1. Okay, what's 7 times 16? 10 times 7 is 70, and then 6 times 7 is 42, so this will equal to 112. So this is 112, and then 1 times 8 is 8. And this is a negative 112 over 8. Now you can probably simplify this. Let's go ahead and do that. So I guess you can divide both by 2. That'll give you, this will give you out 4 over here, 56. And then you can still further multiply it. I'm sorry, you can still further divide by 2 by 23. So then your final value is negative 23 over 2. So if my entire function equals 16, okay, then the value of x must be negative 23 over 2, 7. Okay, so this one's going to be quite tricky. So 7 times 7 is 49. Okay, and then 23 times 8, and they're both negative numbers, so this number is going to be a positive. So 8 times 3. I'm going to go and do my multiplication here. Okay. Okay, so it looks like that's what that would be. Something doesn't seem right. Oh, that's why it doesn't seem right, because that's actually a 2, not a 7. So this would actually be 184 divided by 14. And then if you do the math, 14 goes into 184 16 times, which is the value of my function according to the problem that it gave me right here. Okay? All right, so that's all I will do for now.